everybody, welcome back to Easy Breezy. Today we got a good one. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button. Greatly helps out the channel. Today we're going to be working on that John Deere STX38, getting it ready for the customer. Let's get started. All right, so kind of where we're left off, last time is we got the motor off it, got her for the most part cleaned up. What we need to do now is pull this exhaust off. We'll start out with pulling these two bolts out right here. They'll drop down that plate, as you can see. We'll put these off to the side. Then I believe it's two 1/2-inch bolts here. And it is nutted, so a lot of times you will have to put a wrench down there. And actually they're anchor bolts, so you shouldn't actually have to put a nut down there. I did not realize that. Kind of have to turn the exhaust a little bit, tilt it back. You gotta kind of work on it a little bit to get her out. Just like that. That way, because this exhaust is still good, we do want to keep this. So we'll put that off to the side. Now, this tractor here is, we're eliminating all the safety switches, PTO, things like that, because this tractor is going to be just a drive-around tractor for him to tow his yard trailer and kind of drive around town and things like that. So we're going to get started pulling the wiring out. Don't want to pull too much of it out right away, just because a lot of it is already set up, and that way I don't have to wire too much. So this is the motor we're actually putting on it. It is a 12-horse Briggs & Stratton. What we got to do is get that pulley off, and that way we can set her on here and start figuring out that wiring. Huh, can't ask for it to come off any easier than that. All right, so we're gonna actually keep this pulley aside because we are gonna use it on this tractor and get the motor set on there. One thing I did want to show you guys before we go putting that motor on there. So we need to take this muffler off here. Now the way you take these off, there's this little nut, pretty much, that you tap. That'll loosen up that way you can loosen up this exhaust, get that off. I'll kind of show you guys how to do that. The reason we're taking it off is this exhaust will actually hit our hood mounts, so we got to get that off, and we're going to make a custom exhaust. Now it should be loose enough. Just spin her out. Just like that. All right, so let's get that motor set on there. Some of the wiring out of the way. There we go. We got that all set in there. And actually, now looking at it, she wouldn't have been in the way, but she is going to be in the way of the hood when it does close. So we're still going to make a custom exhaust for it. Let's get some bolts and get her started. All right, so these are the bolts we're going to be using. See here they have this little spot at the end here. It helps line everything up. I did already get one bolt started. I'm just gonna put you guys on time lapse. But first I'm gonna bring you guys down and kind of show you where they go, if I can get you in there. But like I said, if I can't, I'm just gonna time lapse it and get her going. All right, so we got the motor on. Now I do not recommend doing this if you have a motor that has oil in it, just because most people don't know how to which way to tip a tractor. This motor has no fluids in it whatsoever. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna stick the pulley on, just like that. Oh, our key didn't go into spot, there we go. Get our key back up in place there. Now we can stick our bolt in. Again, always start these by hand. Do not go right to your gun. All right, so we got her started, just at least a couple threads. Now I'm using I believe it's a 16? Yeah, 16 millimeter. All right, that's tight. Now we are still waiting on a belt. This belt was junk. And so when we get that belt, I'll bring you guys in to get that belt on. Of course, there's not even a size on it, so I gotta look it up in the book. So, all right, let's get her tipped back up and we'll get her, maybe we'll get her fired up. All right, so what we're gonna do now is we are gonna wire up the kill, which is their white wire. So we're gonna take this, we're just gonna unhook it from here for right now. Just like that. And then we're gonna strip these back just a little bit so we can put this butt connector on. I do not like to use the cheap butt connectors. Those ones have shrink wrap around them. Yeah, a little bit more than that. So about that much right there. Same on this wire here. I'll put the butt connector on it. Maybe give the wire a little twist. That way it doesn't try to bunch up when you're trying to put it in the butt connector. Let's get it started in there. Then we'll take this one, give it a little twist. And yes, you can solder it. I'll say it, I'm not the best at soldering, so I tend to use more butt connectors. Half the time my solder's let loose. When I use butt connectors, they seem to always stay together, so I'll heat her up a little bit. Ooh, a little too much power there. Just a little bit of heat, that's all you need. If you notice, I keep moving her around. Just like that. As you guys can see, it's nice and I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but she's sealed up real good. Now we can plug that in. It's all sealed up. So I'm going to continue that on the charging wires, which are for this plug-in right here. They're actually color coded, which is really nice. We'll get that all hooked up and bring you guys back to start her up. Alright, so sorry the phone ended up dying, so I ended up doing a little bit without you guys. As you can see, we got that in right there, and then for the charging system, we got that all buttoned up there. So that's all the wiring's pretty much done on this, except for he is going to want some lights, which I will hook that into the ignition later. So pretty much next thing we're going to do is get the fuel tank on her and get that hooked up. Alright, so let's start getting that gas tank on. We do have new fuel line right here. We did clean up this gas tank a little bit. They do get a little furry. Alright, let's get our clamp on there. Go. We get this fed down here. Get this dash lifted up so we can sneak her in there. Now these can be kind of fun to get in there. Just like that. Start getting her bolted down. Alright, so now what we're going to be working on is getting the throttle hooked up. One thing we are going to probably have to do, just looking at her, we are going to have to shorten the throttle on her, and we are going to have to make a choke for it. One thing I think we're going to do is we're just going to make a hand choke right here. Not a big deal. So let's just get this stuff off here. Of course, it's a little stuck. I'm going to grab a 5/16. So this, when we took this motor off, they must have cut the throttle off of it. Not a big deal. Like I said, we are going to have to shorten this one up a little bit. Actually, we might not have to. Depending on, I'd really like to not shorten it, just for the simple fact that, you know, it's not going to work as well. That's the way I feel. Because this is a sealed cable, they do work a little bit better. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the old fuel line off that's on the carb right now. Kind of get this set up so we can put that new stuff on it. Be very careful with these because some of these do have a plastic
elbow on them right here. I believe this one does look like metal. So you want to be as careful, but still, you don't want to sit. Yeah, this one is aluminum. The newer ones do have plastic, so you want to be careful of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of put this up like this. I did make sure the cable still works. Actually, let's get her hooked in first. Get her set up here. Gloves keep catching. Gotta love that. Take our screwdriver. I don't like altering things I don't have to alter. All right, let's see if she works. Yep, seems to be working. All right, let's get our fuel line hooked up here. See, I cut it just a little short because we are going to be putting a filter and a shutoff on here. So we'll just snip her off right there. Let's get our clamp set on here. Just like that. Now we can get that slid on. Okay, just like that. Put our filter on. Put the clamp on that one. All right. We're gonna put a clamp on this end here, and then we will be cutting it again to put our shutoff on. All right. Get that clamp on there. And cut it back here a little bit. We need to get our clamps on right away. We got a brand new shut off here, so we'll get that slid on.
So you get somebody up, oh, mail or UPS?
Yep. UPS. And then let's get our clamps set on there. And then what we will do is I will get a zip tie and put it down here so it keeps that kind of tucked away real nicely. Actually, we'll turn this shut off a little bit so that it is facing more upwards. So it'll look just like that. All right, so there you guys have it. We got the John Deere all hooked up, throttle cable, wiring, fuel line, things like that. I think in the next video we'll get her started up. I am still waiting on a drive belt for it, so I think that's probably gonna come next video too. And then maybe let's see if we can get this thing moving around. You guys have a good one. Hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button. Be greatly appreciated. Remember, stay out of trouble even though it ain't always fun. we'll see you guys next time.